Again, we find ourselves in the position where I'm the only one that's left to set the record straight. So recently, basically every news channel on TV, as well as many of the financial shows, both on YouTube and on TV, are talking about the jobs report as well as the unemployment filings. They're talking about these numbers as though they're absolutely catastrophic and they're the reason that the stock market is going to absolutely collapse and that the country is ultimately going to go into another recession/depression. There is varying degrees of apocalyptic thinking out there. So basically what the consensus is that since our unemployment rate is going up at such a crazy rapid rate, and since the amount of people filing for unemployment is increasing like crazy as well, it's proving that our country can't sustain the coronavirus and ultimately we're spiraling into economic depression. But this is why that really isn't that accurate. I can demonstrate it kind of off of two main thesis points. The first would be really digging deep into the jobs report. What does it actually mean that we're going up that high, and why are we actually going up that high? The first point that I would like to draw attention to is the fact that yes, while permanently laid off employees did almost triple, the number of temporarily laid off employees or furloughed employees went up tenfold. Meaning, when the economy starts to pick back up again and we're allowed to open up most businesses, those employees are going to be brought right back to the jobs that they were already in. So why is that important? Because most of those people that are being counted in this unemployment rate aren't actually unemployed. It's just a matter of the country being closed down right now. Another extremely important thing that most people are glancing over in this jobs report is where those jobs were actually lost. So they were really lost in two main sectors. First of which is the hospitality sector. The hospitality sector lost 7.7 million jobs, or about 50% of the employment there. Why would hospitality be losing out on jobs, you might ask? Well, nobody's going on vacation for one, and two, most of those places are actually shut down as non-essential businesses. So when we really look at that number of 7.7 million people losing their jobs in that sector, it's really not that realistic because most of the states are shutting down those businesses specifically. Another area that lost a ton of jobs is the retail space. Malls, local stores, all places that aren't allowed to function in our new way of living. The final note as a part of the actual jobs report that I would like to touch on is the fact that the number of jobs being lost each week. The most recent data suggests that about 2.3 million people lost their jobs in this past week. So while that is a tremendous amount of people, we need to consider where that is actually in perspective. So I'm gonna put an image up of the amount of jobs lost over the past couple of weeks. And as you can see, there's a clear downward trajectory to the amount of jobs being lost each week. So we actually are slowing down. And even though the media portrays it as 2.3 million people having lost their jobs in a week, which is a tremendous amount, it's really not in the grand scheme, and it actually is declining. So the second kind of main thesis that I wanted to touch on is the unemployment filings. And within the unemployment filings, I just wanted to talk about how many people are applying for it and how the unemployment claims have skyrocketed. So this is a big media sticking point. Everybody wants to talk about how fast and the rate of increase that the unemployment filings have increased by. So if we really think back to what we've heard on the news or what we've heard on different people's YouTube channels recently, it's a lot about the CARES Act. So while we all got stimulus, another thing that got a lot of press attention was the $600 extra per week that the federal government was adding on to the already existing unemployment system in our country. Now, a massive issue with this that I don't really know that the politicians really thought about or thought through in any regard is that most people making below a certain amount of money in this country are now making more money being on unemployment than they are working at their own jobs. And what a lot of small businesses are doing is they're furloughing their employees, saying we can't pay you if they can't get the Paycheck Protection Loan, or if they really don't know a whole lot about that, but they know that the unemployment system will care for their employees. So they're furloughing or firing their employees on a temporary basis so that they can collect these high unemployment checks and make even more than they were making at their current jobs. This also incentivizes people to stay on unemployment for as long as humanly possible. So we're really worried about, and the stock market and economists are really worried about the fact that the unemployment is so high and that it could potentially last for a really long time, like 2008, for example. What the politicians really didn't think about, and what's ultimately going to affect the country overall, is the fact that they are giving out this extra incentive to never come back to work, or at least don't come back to work until the $600 a week expires. So hint, hint, that's why you should really be talking to your politicians about why they shouldn't be extending the unemployment increases, but that's a video for another time. So on that same note, actually, they also increased the pool for the people that are able to actually accept unemployment benefits. So normally it's just full-time employees that are paying into the unemployment system in a particular state. But what the federal government came in and said is, in the CARES Act, we will cover employees that actually haven't been paying in their entire time or their entire career into our unemployment system. Now this allows contractors and 1099 employees to go out and actually claim benefits for themselves as well. So this also disincentivizes them to go back to work as well, because they didn't even have to pay into this system for their entire career, and now they're able to take the benefits out for themselves anyway. So I realized that this was a shorter video, but I just wanted to get across that everybody's saying that the unemployment rate and the jobs report and the unemployment filings are all contributing to the fact that the stock market cannot go on another bull run, that it's a bear market from here on out and we're going back into a depression. And I just wanted to get across that it's not a real figure. And much like Warren Buffett's comparison from our GDP to stock earnings, it's not an apt comparison, because we have never seen such a rapid rise in unemployment, such a rapid rise in job loss. And it was mainly due to the fact that the government opened up the doors for all of these jobs to be lost and stay lost for a significant amount of time. But money is still flowing in the economy. If we take a look at stocks earnings over a long period of time, they still are increasing. And if we don't account for the recent drop off and the recent shutdowns, because you can't really, since it's so much of an outlier, the market is doing amazing. But people don't realize that, and people aren't really thinking about that, because they think that this jobs claim is what's going to lead us into the next depression. I just wanted to get across that it's not really that big of a deal, and the jobs report really shouldn't be taken into account as much as it is. It caused the market actually to be down today, but I think overall, I think personally we're headed for another bull market. So let me know what you guys think though. Do you guys think we're going on another bull market, or do you think we're headed for the next depression again? I really would like to know. And if you would please leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.